Quay greetings. Welcome to another video. Uh, we're going to attempt to reply to a comment that I got in the comment section of one of my recent videos. And the comment, which I hope the commenter doesn't mind that I share the post. And so I'm going to share my screen as I try to answer the question because I take it seriously, especially, a direct question such as the one here submitted by at Jiz 1488 3 days ago. And the person says, great podcast, many great points. How can I learn more about protecting ourselves via claiming our sovereign identity and the rights that come with it? Books? Thanks for sharing. So first, I just want to thank Jiz 1488. Your comments have been very well received. I appreciate your comments. And so I had mentioned that I would like to try to do a video and maybe try to, do a quick overview of how I am approaching your question, claiming or how to claim our sovereign identity as American Indians. So, first, I want to say that there are three documents that I am using in my claiming and establishing my sovereign identity as an American Indian, not taxed. So I would just want to quickly as possible make it a very, more of like a step one, step two, step three type of thing, right? So first step is your legal public notice. This one is mine. We read it before. I decided that I'm not going to do a whole lot of reading because I want this to be a quick overview for Indians who just want the initial steps to carving out and standing on. Well, you don't have to carve it out. It's in the Constitution. Basically, you're just calling them up because, you know, the system is bucking on you not knowing. But this is the time of the awakening. And we have God-given birthright to not be genocided because that's all we get when we don't stand on our footing, our standing. Okay, so here is the first document that one will need to make the declaration. This is your public legal notice. Um, as you can see on the side here, I submitted mine to the Queen's Chronicle, Thursday, September 12th of 2024. It's on page 32. Uh, if you're in the Queens area, this is one option, one publication, the Queens Chronicle, and their number is right there, 718 205 8000. You could call them, and the person I spoke to, Stella, her name is Stella. She was very cordial and very patient because I kept coming to her with different edits of my public legal notice. And there you see, I read it before, but this time we're not going to read it because I think what I'll do is I'll just put it in the comment section. But there it is, my public legal notice. I'll read the first part. I, Anthony Brian Clements, am an American Indian proclaiming and reclaiming my birthright lineage and standing in the Americas, which predates the United States corporation government. Okay, so that's me making the statement, my opening statement, that what I'm doing, how I'm, establishing my standing that's already in the Constitution. So this is step one. Make your public legal notice. I would say you're going to word it. Well, you'll see the wording. I'll cut and paste it in the comment section or in the description box, and you'll see, what you can grab. Now, I did this as an Algonquin because I know that my family were Algonquin Indians. So I put in a blurb about being an Algonquin, right? So that's what you want to do if you can. Talk about where you are located, where your tribe was located. Um, yes, because although you won't have a map in this public notice, if you say where your tribe was from, you can, it'll be known, once a linguistic map is located. Okay, so that's the first thing. The first thing you want to do when you're establishing, you're declaring, proclaiming, however you want to call it, what your standing is. When you speak for yourself and we don't have a government steering you to being known as a United States citizen, when you make your proclamation in a public legal notice, you see the legal notice, you see? So this is legal. And this was notarized with the publication. I didn't go to a notary public. The newspaper had a notary public, and this is how they are making this a public legal notice, okay? So here's a copy of the receipt I got in the mail. That's what you'll get. They couldn't fit my entire legal notice, so they got as much as they could here, where it start. I don't know why it keeps. Yeah, it starts here, and they put as much as they could. All right, because as you can see, my public legal notice is pretty lengthy. In fact, it goes the whole length of the paper, I believe. Yes. Step number one is your public legal notice. Please see mine's in the comment section after I post it there. Step two, I decided that we're going to go with the Constitution. So in declaring your lawful legal standing as an American Indian, you're going to show them where you're mentioned in the Constitution. And what we're going to always refer to ourselves as when dealing with this government is Indians not taxed, because that's what we were. And so we're not going to get jiggy like the government does and start using terms like Native American. And, we're going to stick to the contract that refer to us as Indians not taxed. Okay. So in your declaration, well, actually, your public notice is one thing. When you go to share this information with agencies that are taxing you, any organization or state or federal entity that's taxing you, this is when you're going to whip out a copy of the Constitution. It just makes it very, very clear, you know? So what you might do is maybe highlight Article 1, Section 2, and this is Clause 3. So you might want to highlight Clause 3 because you're going to point them to where you are mentioned, and this is your standing. Indian not taxed, not supposed to be taxed by this government. You were supposed to have your own government, and you were supposed to uh, support your own government with whatever tribute your chief or leader you and yourself agreed to. Because what? You're supporting your system, not a foreigner's. This is the travesty of this system. They have us in a very disadvantageous position, but on top of that, we're actually paying to support our oppression, which is just unconscionable, y'all. It's this beast on our land is truly a uh satanic situation, y'all. They're going against the Constitution by taxing us. They've buried our Indian not taxed uh uh standing. Okay, so you want to get a copy of the Constitution. You can get this at this website here. Now, take a look there. You can get a copy of this at this website, constitutionalcommando.com. You're going to go to this website and you're going to go to the 1787 Constitution, because this is the Constitution where Indians precede United States citizens of the 14th Amendment. In this 1787 Continental Constitution, which you can download here, you're going to go here, click on that, then you're going to choose the PDF, because the PDF will give you this nice cleaned up version, whereas the image is going to give you the version here on the right. And let's see, there's the image again. So it'll give you this, but this well, you could use it. I mean, I actually prefer the PDF version because, as you see, this one is an actual scan of the 1787 Constitution. So there's little, marks on it. So you just want a nice clean version here. So you download the PDF. You go to constitutionalcommando.com. You're going to go to this Constitution, 1787, because you don't even want to give them access to that damn 14th Amendment. But the truth is, you probably just need the first page anyway. But if you feel like sending the whole thing, it's go on and do it. Just highlight the part that, speaks to Indians not taxed. This whole third paragraph here in the Article 1, Article 1, Section 2, and this is considered Clause 3, even though they don't have it written out as Clause 3. So step 2, get your copy of the United States Constitution, or the Constitution for the United States of America. That is the original Continental Constitution. These other two, they have the 14th Amendment. This one doesn't have the 14th Amendment because it was not it was not created when this first Constitution was written. And this Constitution only has 7 articles, whereas these other Constitutions have more articles added, I believe, etc. And there's no amendments in this. Yeah, there's no amendments in this first Constitution, let alone the 14th Amendment. So we want to just keep it, we want to remind them that we're aware that from the time of the original Constitution, we were always Indians not taxed. And there's no way we were citizens because there was no 14th Amendment in this first Constitution. So it might be good to print out the whole thing, actually. Okay. It just lets them know that you're aware of this Constitution because so many times this Constitution is overlooked because they want to steer us to that 14th Amendment. It does not exist in this first legal, lawful United States Constitution. Let's stick with the first one. So this is the part, I'm sorry, your second step. Get a copy of the Constitution, the original Constitution from constitutionalcommando.com. Right here. Right here. Next and last, you're going to get a copy of the papal bull that repudiates the entire show. This document really shuts down the entire effect that the United States government has on Indians. So you're going to need this papal bull. And to get to, well, just like in the Constitution that we just looked at, you're going to also highlight, I would say you're going to highlight these two, we'll call them articles. And I just want to read them quickly because these two, you want to get them to focus, whoever you're sending your documents to, you want to get them to focus on these two articles. Article number 7. In no uncertain terms, the church's magisterium upholds the respect due to every human being. The Catholic Church, therefore, repudiates those concepts that fail to recognize the inherent human rights of indigenous peoples, including what has become known as the legal and political doctrine of discovery. So it's no longer legal. The doctrine of discovery is no longer legal because, as we just read, it's repudiated. Okay? It's repudiated. It is no longer legal or lawful for any entity to go by, what did he call it? Uh, the terms, I'm sorry, or what has become known as the legal and political doctrine of discovery. No longer applicable. Article 8. Numerous and repeated statements by the church and popes uphold the rights of indigenous peoples. For example, in the 1537 papal bull Sublimis Deus, Pope Paul III wrote, "We define and declare that the said Indians," this is why we want to highlight this, because they're specifying Indians, "and all other people who may later be discovered," quote unquote, really, because anyway, by Christians, are by no means to be deprived of their liberty or the possessions of their property, even though they be outside the Christian faith. So you don't no longer have to be Christian. But Christianity never got us our property or our ancestral land anyway, right? It never gave us our freedom as free sovereigns on the land, right? It never gave us anything but a promise in the afterlife. And that they may, the Indians may and should freely and legitimately enjoy their liberty and possession of their property, nor should they be in any way enslaved. Should the contrary happen, if someone does decide to attempt to deny them their liberty or property, it shall be null and have no effect. You can challenge it. You can let them know that what you're doing, it has no legal validity. If it involves taking now we want to call our quote unquote, we want to call property our ancestral land, and we want to call liberty our birthright freedom, because the term liberty and property, it's leaning toward more commercial law. And we have to remind them that those terms are actually more commercial, especially property. As we learn, liberty is something you give people who are working for the government in the military. They get liberty, like sailors. So in the case of Indians, it's not liberty we're getting. We're going by our birthright, freedom, our sovereignty, and we have the right, as this Pope is affirming, to enjoy the possession of our ancestral land. What he calls property, we call our ancestral land. And he's saying we should not in any way be enslaved, meaning the Constitution talks about voluntary servitude, like it prohibits involuntary servitude, but actually the Constitution, it's not a perfect document, y'all. It comes kind of close compared to other documents in the world. But as we see, our government did not even stick to this wonderful or somewhat wonderful document. They just turned us into blacks, Negroes, coloreds. And so Indian not taxed was no longer applicable to us, but it's also not applicable to Native Americans. So this government made sure that it is beholden to no one. It answers to no one but the nobility that brought it here, along with the Vatican. But the Pope has denounced or actually repudiated the church's involvement in misappropriating the ancestral land of American Indians. The Pope is saying, no, no, sir, we no longer do that. We're no longer in the business of stealing from Indians. I mean, in a way, they've already prospered from years of doctrine of discovery shenanigans, but the time has come where even the church is no longer participating in colonization anywhere, according to this document. Should what they call indigenous be discovered anywhere, right? So this is step 3. These are the first 3 initial steps for an American Indian to show and prove that he is no longer to be subject to genocide and land misappropriation. And what is definitely indicated and profoundly implied is that we were to profit. When you look at the Constitution, we were in a commerce agreement, which means, and I love to stress this, we were supposed to profit in our connecting or our interaction, I should say, with the federal system, the federal state international system. We were supposed to profit from doing, quote unquote, commerce with this federal government. We were not supposed to be dominated by it. We were supposed to profit. But the federal system made sure that we profited very little. in the beginning, and then not at all by the time they misclassified us black. So there should be, as there is, penalty for doing that. You owe us, federal government. It's no longer a just grab and take for you. It's about giving back what was denied, giving back what was stolen. We lost years of profit, and this foreign government profited off of our ancestral land, the produce of our land, the resources of our land. It's like they just had free access once they cut us out of the Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, which is, no, I'm sorry, Article 1, Section 2, I'm sorry, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3. Pardon, that's Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3, which is the Commerce Clause. They cut us out of that. It just doesn't apply to us because we were reclassified. And we never, to this day, since the reclassification, we've not profited as we should have dealing with one nation to another in commerce. The only reason to do commerce would be to make a profit, not to be dominated and made a debt slave. So yes, this is the step 3, and basically the final step in the initial establishing of your American Indian standing. This bulletin can be found by going, we'll backtrack a little bit, show you how to find this papal bull that should be part of your paperwork, establishing your Indian not tax standing in all of the Americas. So you go to www.vatican.va, and you should pull this first page up, and then you scroll down to this link, Roman Curia, to grab your copy of this latest papal bull as of March 30th, 2023, repudiating the doctrine of discovery. So once we get to the Roman Curia page, we scroll down to this link here, Dicastery for Culture and Education. It's the 1, 2, 3, the 4th column down. I'm sorry, 4th, and then the 4th row. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the 4th row here, and the 4th item in the 2nd column. So this is the 2nd column, and the 2nd row, and 2nd in the row. So once you get there, I'm sorry, it's the 4th column. I'm sorry, the 4th row of the 2nd column. This is the 2nd column. This is the 4th row, okay, is what I believe we would call these. Because a column is vertical, right? Yeah. So the row would be horizontal. So once you're there, look for Dicastery for Culture and Education. Click on it. Then you'll get to this page where you have to go to Documents. Click on Documents. Then it's the 2nd link from the top here. And then you click on that, and there you have the Pope's repudiation of this entire legal system, in as much as it is pulling jurisdiction over American Indians, that the Constitution never gave them the right, the authority to pull jurisdiction on American Indians. So I may stop here because I'm really trying to make an effort to make this a short video. You have, let's start again. Okay, so first you're gonna make a public notice. Once you drafted your public notice, where you're saying what you're doing, and we read the first line, that's what you're doing. An American Indian proclaiming and reclaiming your birthright lineage and standing in the Americas, which predates the United States corporation government. So that's what you're doing with your public legal notice. You're making a proclamation, a declaration of your standing. Then you're going to get a copy of the 1787 Constitution for the United States of America, because this version is where we first hear of Indians not taxed, but we don't hear anything about any United States or federal citizen. There were no such thing as United States federal system. I mean, federal citizens in the first Constitution. So you might just want to get a whole copy of this one. All 7, I think, pages. I believe it's 7 pages, but however many pages, because you want to show them that you know a thing or two about these constitutions, and you're standing on the initial first constitution, which there was no doubt that you were not a 14th Amendment citizen, because there was no 14th Amendment. From 1787 to 1789, there was no United States or federal United States citizen. Okay, so you can grab that at constitutionalcommando.com here, this website. And again, this is the first constitution here. Lastly, you're going to grab that papal bull. And we saw where we can locate this. So this is your initial gathering of what you need. Okay? There are many ways to do this, because you are a free man or woman of the land as an American Indian with your own separate jurisdiction from the federal system as granted in the Constitution. So the government cannot come for you like they would come for a Moor, because a Moor is not in the Constitution. Okay? Native Americans are not in the Constitution. Whites are not in the Constitution. Blacks are not in the Constitution. Okay? So this is my initial answer to the question about how can I protect my American Indian sovereign identity. You establish it, and then you will send out your notices. I'm going to close here, and I want to once again thank at Jiz 1488 for your comment and your question. I hope this answers it. Please feel free to ask any other questions. To the part about books, no, there's not really going to be any books that explicitly tell us what to do, because the way this system is built, if we don't make it, it doesn't exist. If we don't create it, as having the sovereign standing that we have to create, if we haven't done it, it doesn't exist. So they wouldn't write books on this. We would write the books on this. We could learn from other people that are doing a similar process, like the state nationals that I always talk about with Anna von Rice. I learned a lot of this from her. I had an idea from how she was approaching it. But she's creating her standing in a state. Indians never lived in states before colonization, so we have to recreate the land as it existed before the states were here. So before I launch into another long diatribe, let's say thank you so much again, Jiz, 1488. Hope this begins to answer your question or how you will go about the initial steps to claim your American Indian sovereign Indian not tax standing. Thank you. And till next time, be and stay highly favored.